In our weakness, He is strong. On this silent planet moment. I'd like us to turn to 2 Corinthians 12, 7 through 10, and I'll be reading from the Message. But before I do this, I need to give you a little background of what's happening here. The Apostle Paul, who was one of the greatest men in the New Testament, was speaking to the church of Corinth. In the church of Corinth, there were a whole bunch of people who thought they were super spiritual. They were trying to draw all this attention to themselves instead of Jesus. And what that was doing was tearing the church apart. Now, the Apostle Paul had incredible revelations of who Jesus was. In fact, in Scripture it says he was caught up in the third heaven. His spirit entered into the throne room of God or something. We're not quite sure what that means. Something very spiritual happened to him. In addition to that, Paul was also whipped and beaten and flogged and cursed at and left for dead on the roadside. All these different things happened to him. So he wasn't just a super spiritual preacher guy. He was a person who was hurt and abused by both the people of God, the Judaizers, if you want to call them the people of God, and he was also abused by the powerful people in cities. With that said, I want to read this, and I want you to be thinking about what he's saying here, being abused or hurt because of your faith. Verses 7 through 10. Because of the extravagance of those revelations, and so I wouldn't get a big head, I was given the gift of a handicap to keep me in constant touch with my limitations. Satan's angel did his best to get me down. What he did, in fact, was push me to my knees. No danger, then, of walking around high and mighty. At first, I didn't think of it as a gift and begged God to remove it from me. 3 times I did that, and then he told me, "My grace is enough. It's all you need. My strength comes into its own in your weakness." Once I heard that, I was glad to let it happen. I quit focusing on the handicap and began appreciating the gift. It was a case of Christ's strength moving on my weakness. Now I take limitations in stride and with good cheer. These limitations that cut me down to size, abuse, accidents, opposition, bad breaks, I just let Christ take over. And so the weaker I get, the stronger I become. We try so hard to avoid those things in our life that cause us suffering and struggle. But here Paul says, this is the key to strength. Because the weaker I get, the stronger I become. Rejoice in the struggles of life. This has been a Silent Planet moment.